You.
Pew, 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 pew,
Yep,
pew,
yep, yep,
pew,
yep.
pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, we were just doing that.
How's it going?
It's going pretty good.
I am excited for dance classes
Oh no,
starting
man!
on
Hasn't
Friday.
signed me up for dance
I'm so
classes.
excited. After all these years,
Yeah.
we're finally going to be taught by other people and not me teaching you and using you for examples. And I'm so excited. I love taking classes. Um, I've been dancing for a good portion of my life, but I like to still be taught. And I have a hard time sometimes finding places that will allow me to do that because I've had to teach for so long. It's nice to find a place where I can still be the student and still be learning. I enjoy that.
I'm just a nightclub boogier.
And now I get to drag you along. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Teacher's Curse. I'm Annie.
And I'm Kevin.
So Halloween's tomorrow, but do you want to know what is truly scary?
Do what? What is truly scary? What could possibly scare me?
Literacy rates.
Oh, yes, the literacy rates.
I'm gonna go ahead and say in the state.
In the state.
But in our area in particular, it's a point of frustration for us just because of what we do. We're in it all the time. We see it all the time. It's a sore point.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, we were talking before we came on air that we were talking about how we mentioned this and how this is the teacher's curse is because when you're a teacher, nothing's good for your children, but you can't teach them yourself.
Right.
So,
it's really, really hard to teach your own kids.
Right. So you get the doctor syndrome, you get the whatever, and and you always flash into these. It's going to be this and it's going to be that. So we started looking because I think ours we legitimately wanted him to go into public school, maybe for kindergarten or for first grade, to see how it kind of went, and he could have a little taste of that. And that's
for all the same reasons that we hear from parents who.
Yeah, if I was going to move here, I'd look it up and see what are the schools.
And when families leave us, it's usually for the reason of wanting to expand their kids' horizons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're a small setting, so it's easy to get comfortable in there. When you have your own child in that setting, he gets the tendency to think that he's the king of the castle.
Well, he thinks he's at home.
Yeah, he's constantly at home all the time. It's always his territory and his space.
Yeah.
So we've been thinking of ways that we can challenge him in those same areas. It's just things that you think about as a parent.
Right. So picture yourself if you were going to move to Great Falls and Montana, you'd want to know how and what they're doing for the schools and which ones are the better schools so you can kind of move into those areas. That's a typical way of people moving around the country, I think. It's not something that shouldn't be said, but if you're living here and you're paying taxes towards this, then you also have a different perspective.
A majority of your taxes. A high majority.
70% of your taxes go to public instruction, guys. So yeah. So there's that big concern, right? Because we were actually thinking about letting him loose. So there's other factors, and I think people will kind of pick at me a little bit. I've run for state superintendent of schools. I do my homework. I understand some of the systems, the way they work. But when you know that, it's even more frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's even more frustrating. So you try to keep your objective hat on. I should say. So we're going to try to keep our objective hat on and
like we always do,
and kind of push through this.
So speaking of taxes, a friend of ours had posted his bill on his Facebook page, his property tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's itemized, of course. So a huge chunk of what was on that bill was, of course, related to public instruction, and he's in a different city than we are. But it prompted me to go to the GEMS website on OPI. Because we like to check in there every once in a while to kind of
see
see
leader section. So
where the numbers are. And what I saw on that particular day was really shocking to me. For as many times as we have looked at it and tracked
reading
it.
Teachers, you tried to put your parent hat on.
Yeah, because we need to know. We need to know what's going on. Okay. So what I saw when I pulled this up. So this is our Great Falls Elementary right here. This is for last school year. And the proficiency rate for English language arts was at 17%.
Yeah. With
zero in the advanced column. I've never seen that since we've lived here.
No, I've never seen that in my career.
Yeah. And then I jumped over to the mathematics. And it showed 13% proficient. Again, with 0% in the advanced column.
So let's just digest this and kind of,
because my jaw dropped.
Yeah, dropped. Mm-hmm. So it's shocking to see, right? What that actually does to a parent's gut, let alone. But I don't think nobody know. You can't get into these numbers. You have to dig to go and get these numbers, which is bull crap.
I don't know how that happens.
I'm
just.
And here they are asking for more tax money from these people.
Well, and just always saying that there's not enough, and that's not a money problem.
That's
not a money problem.
No, that's not a money problem.
I'm going to go so far as to say that is a societal problem that we are facing.
Yes.
And now, granted, that 13 and 17% is a stark difference from the report from the year before.
Right.
So for it to drop like that really should be signaling that something is wrong. So maybe there's a possibility that there's something wrong in the reporting.
Something wrong with the numbers.
The high school one checked out for what I looked at. That's pretty similar to the year before. So maybe something is just being missed. If not, that's a crisis. We are in a crisis mode.
Yeah, and if somebody did do those numbers and put them up there, you should be fired.
Yeah.
You're fired. Okay.
If they're not keeping that, current like they're supposed to be, because it's unacceptable.
And I cannot believe in my heart that, or in the way we are as teachers, that teachers out there would accept this. You guys, those who are colleagues, and we ask you, of people who are colleagues, okay, can you wrap your head, if these numbers aren't skewed, if there's something happened and something went awry, okay, we're talking about that. But picture yourself moving into this area. Would you even think about placing your children into those schools? And that's the information that the public has.
I mean, we see the worst of the worst, right? So we
I wouldn't say the worst of the worst, but we see we're elevated.
Yeah. We, from our perspective, our perspective can tend to be negative because of the particular population of students that come to us.
Right,
and we tend to work with.
But from our opening, and you guys can all go back to there too, we actually wanted to put ourselves out of business. We always, if we talk about our business side of it, we always thought, with the model, we put them back into, and it's kind of like this thing where they just, they just go this way, and they just keep going, and it's just constant. Whoever needs help, they get it, and we put them back into school. But that didn't, that didn't happen. So, because people looked at the story.
Yeah, and that's what we look at when we're talking about our own child and should we put them in, and it's there's no way.
Right.
There's no way.
There's no way you guys get my freaking taxes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have a sign out front. If you drive by my house, take a look at it.
Oh, there's no way that I would take that chance with him. And every child's going to be different.
Sure.
The 13% obviously are doing just fine, and they
13% are
can
doing
approach
fine.
these tests no problem.
Right.
You know, we understand that there's a lot of other factors too. There's the whole premise of these kids are doing it on the computer, and instead of actually taking the time and relating any importance to these tests, they're just going to click through.
Yeah. When we've seen that, and to
Mhm.
get our own students to do it, when we were working with, you know, highly autistic and in the special ed realm, the biggest thing was to convince them to actually take the test.
Mhm.
You can do it,
Yeah.
and they don't have that confidence. I don't think they're
No.
because we didn't
That's
instill
the
that.
other thing is they're falling to the wayside with test anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And everything's causing anxiety,
Yeah.
and because of that, they don't feel they don't have the skills in order that they need to get through such a daunting task.
Right.
The goal should be that the test should not be daunting. So there was a concern. It may still be a concern. I haven't heard about it as much in recent years, but maybe a decade ago where they were worried about teachers only teaching to the test, right? And that's when they really started hitting curriculum hard. That was the No Child Left Behind Act started coming out. So I guess we're talking 2 decades ago. You know, and was it going to kill teachers' creativity? Was it going to kill their expertise? Just let the teachers teach. And which they absolutely should be allowed to do.
Yeah.
Because when you allow your teachers that freedom and that autonomy, taking a test of this nature is not a big deal.
No.
It shouldn't be daunting. It shouldn't be scary. It shouldn't seem like there's high stakes to it. But there's also the understanding that, hey, these are important. You have to try your best on it.
Yeah, and we saw this from cross-curricular activities and writing and stuff, where we have talked about, and this was years ago that we talked about this, we have lost that generation. This was before COVID. This was 14, 13 that we're talking about. And it really starts in kindergarten and all of the other grades after that, right? Say if you get to second grade, you have a benchmark. Those children should be reading. They should be in their higher level, you know, kind of understanding, right? Right through there. If they're not doing that, then the second grade teachers, they get them from the kindergarten to first grade that didn't learn and have to go back. And it's always this backward kind of cycle that we kind of saw. And we lost like 2 generations because of that before COVID, is my opinion.
Right. So the other thing that was concerning to me that, of course, we started looking at was the college readiness.
Right.
So the scores, I won't pull those up on Gem. You can, well, no, I'll pull it up because it was just on the same page anyway. Okay. So for the high school, still really dismal numbers.
Yeah.
So this is the mathematics. We're looking at 26%. English language arts, we're looking at 44% roughly.
Yeah. So yeah, because of the advanced.
Right.
If you're looking back at near proficient and whichever, don't let them fool you with this. Okay, because just, you know, I get it. It's in the numbers, but it's in the proficiency and the advanced readers.
So with those low numbers, here is the other issue. So these are the graduation rates.
Right.
Which consistently hit 85, 86%.
Yes.
All the way down. So with those low proficiency rates, they're still graduating at 86%, which led us to the career and college readiness, which was hovering at about 70-ish%.
Yeah.
So we have these low proficiency rates, these really great graduation rates, but then we're sending them into college and career mode, and they're not ready. Obviously.
Right. Right. And this doesn't work. And so if you can't read and you can't do basic math up and through, you know, um, that's a problem. So we looked at it as being parents and looking at it with our child, and call it the teacher's curse or whatever, or with your picky or whichever. But those numbers that we saw, we pulled up the elementary and the high school again. I mean, that's that's unacceptable. It's
And it's getting
unacceptable.
worse and worse every year.
It's
And that's
because they're not.
we're just seeing the sharp decline.
Right.
And we can't blame it on COVID anymore because the decline was happening even before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things that we can blame the what was happening during COVID, and how that affected the kids that were born that year, or the kids that were toddlers that year.
Yep.
And how that's led into them now as third graders,
where we are, yeah.
what that looks like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just it's going to get to be such a daunting task to get these numbers back up to where they need to be.
Well, yeah.
If we are not coming together as a community and recognizing it as a problem and utilizing every resource that we have to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really, what do we know about the answer to it? We don't know if we have an answer to that, you know? And I mean, if we looked at, what school did, let's see, $9,000, $10,000 per child.
Yeah,
okay.
Go down on that.
Give them the voucher system, and you're looking, we really would like to see that community can really help this problem. I mean, a place like
community's the answer to this problem, in my
it really is
opinion.
It really is.
Yeah, school attendance is obviously a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's our college and career ready. So this is our high school. 58%.
And they're saying they're 89% of graduation rate, right in the high 80s, right? Going
right.
to pushing
86% are graduating.
Mm-hmm.
58% who are college or career ready.
Right.
In our district. In the state, that's 62%. So they're right in line there.
So I mean, you're just over half of the population of children that go to school. You've lost, and that. So we look at it as parents, and we go, no way, I'm doing this. What else can you do? I guess you sacrifice your family, and one person works and one person tries to take care of their education.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, but why?
We're not in a situation where.
Why would they try to stop something like that?
Who?
Well, the state, our constitution, and all of that says they have to give it, and the voucher system just went, and we don't have it.
Right.
You're not providing. You're not providing for the children.
Right.
You're not giving them a wealth of the education you promised in your constitution. It's neglect. Now, again, with the doom and gloom, like we said, there's a lot of emotional things and things of that nature than just clicking on a thing and on a computer. So I do want to bring that back. But the teacher's curse,
yes,
that's tough, right? That's hard. Nobody wants to move out of their place where they wanted to place roots, and say, oh boy, where in the country are we excelling in? Well, that's where there's pod schools, charter schools. There's choice. There's the community helps, and a lot of kids don't stay in charter schools and pods. They bounce in and out, so they like to go look at new.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are only go to 6th to 8th grade anyway.
Right.
A charter high school is.
Mm-hmm.
Rare, I guess. It's not that it's rare, it's not as common.
Right.
And they're usually specialized by the time that they're at a high school level.
Perfect.
And I don't know, but what I do know is it's hard to get people to admit that there's a problem, because because once you admit that there's a problem, it triggers people to place blame
Right.
on someone. And that's why I say this is not a single entity's fault. This is a systematic failure
from community all the way up.
And if we keep trying to make it better by not changing anything and just hoping that over time it will improve, that's not how these sort of things work. And it's one of those things again where you're facing this thing that is larger than you.
Yeah.
And you have to speak up about it. And we know that a lot of people are now intimidated by the educators in their community.
Yep.
You know, we've made it so that parents aren't really welcome in the schools anymore to advocate for these things. All things that we've talked about in previous podcasts, that I think would really help this particular situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. And if you're looking to these numbers, reach out to us, because we can give you reading packets and things like that to try, or a direction to go into to test your own children. We give our children assessments that are handwritten and read. So they have it in there. It's
so they can't just click through it.
So they can't click through it.
They have to
exhibit what they know. And we can, and that's okay. And they're free websites. You can just go and go find them. We just type in something really quick, like assess kindergarten assessment, and it'll give it to you. And they come from regular schools, school districts all over the country.
Yeah.
Utah does it. They have assessment. Utah has a great website.
Utah has great resources for their
it's
educators.
wide open for them.
They have an entire channel dedicated to things that for their teachers to watch. I watch.
Well, and they're homeschoolers. It's free if you want to homeschool your child.
I would love to see.
It's like state says, "Here, we love you."
Yeah, I would.
Here's some resources.
I would love to see an education network in Montana that resembles that of Utah.
Well, that would mean transparency.
I know. Well, it would require somebody who's able to compile that information and produce it and get it out and get it out to the people.
Sure.
That's what it requires.
Hey, state superintendent, give Utah a call and find out how the hell they put that on their line for them.
Now, Utah is in no way perfect. I know we've touted it a couple times. That's just our best way of comparing.
You can call New York. I got some numbers back there too.
Right. Regionally, it's more comparable to Montana.
Right.
Which is why I bring it up so often.
Well,
there will be episodes where we're going to get into the things that Utah does not do well.
Sure.
That we saw. I just wanted to put a note out there before everybody thinks that we're just like touting Utah all the time. But Utah does have some really great things that I think would benefit Montana.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
That I would like to see here. So
other states do too as well. Mm-hmm. You know, Florida does and things like that. But in New York, where my county was 700 and some odd thousand people, just my county.
Right.
And so and you say, well, how do you have how can you be living out in the country when you do that? Because it was huge. Like my county was like gigantic, but it took up. What happened was the corner of my county butts up to the lake, and that's where Buffalo is.
What county were you in?
Erie County. Erie County and Buffalo, and it's like it's huge.
Yeah.
But in that whole section, so but charter schools everywhere. It's great. Good competition. It's great.
Yeah, just choice and
just choice.
Parents being able to be involved, and it's not that. I think I worry about falling into the trap of pretending like once upon a time it was really everything was great and everybody was learning and everybody was reading. I understand that it's not like history was perfect and then now it's just dark and dismal. Just what I'm saying is we're seeing just sharper and sharper declines closer and closer together.
Right. When all these tools that we thought were going to help children are just
Yeah.
they blew up.
Legislation in particular.
Well,
Yeah, and then the tools going into the classroom. Many of those decisions, by the way, are not made by teachers, which I think is a travesty.
No, they're not.
I think teachers need to be invited to the superintendent's office on a regular basis, just regular classroom teachers. And what do you think? What are you seeing? What do you need to have more of?
Yeah.
Or less of?
Yeah.
How do you want us to get out of your way? Where do you need more support?
Yeah.
You know, and seeing that more on a state level, I think would be really great.
I think so. Yeah.
If you have any comments that you would like to share with us based on this topic, you can email us at teacherscursepod@gmail.com. If you are interested in any of the many services that Go and Grow Education Services offers, you can look us up at gogrowtutor.com. And make sure to like and subscribe our YouTube channel or listen to us on Spotify. Thank you so much for being with us. This is The Teacher's Curse. I'm Annie.
And I'm Kevin.
Leather Barrows out.